OMG, you are not going to believe the absolute royal warfare that just detonated behind closed doors. Meghan Markle is in a total absolute state of pure panic because King Charles's top secret master plan to snatch Archie and Lilibet right out from under her has officially leaked to the world. 96 in the morning Greenwich. Meantime, the crimson doors of the Privy Council chamber at St. James's Palace open, and King Charles strides forward without notes, without aides flanking him, without the prepared remarks that royal addresses of any significance are always built around the correspondence. In the room have covered enough of these moments to recognize immediately that something different is happening. He speaks for exactly 67 seconds. In those 67 seconds, he detonates 2 years of secrecy so completely that the room does not fully absorb what it has heard until the recordings play back. Years of patience. Talk about a literal jaw-dropping bombshell. Can you even imagine the look on the reporters' faces? This wasn't some polite, rehearsed little royal speech. This was a calculated, ice-cold ambush. Charles just stood there, looked the world in the eye, and dropped a truth bomb that shattered 2 years of absolute silence. Meghan and Harry thought they were safe and sound in their California bubble, playing by their own rules, but the king just flipped the entire game board over. It is officially on. Have lapsed, he says. Archie and Lilibet deserve the stability we can demonstrably provide, and my advisors and I have reached full consensus on the lawful course to secure their welfare. The veteran correspondents are already filing as he walks back through the crimson doors, but the phrase that nobody in the room fully processes until they hear it again in playback, the phrase that the legal specialists across 2 continents will spend the following days unpacking, is not the declaration about patience or stability. It is 4 words buried in the middle of the statement full consensus on. I am literally shaking. This is getting so incredibly dark and twisted. A dismissed nanny delivering secret testimony on a dark, rain-smeared night, shady cryptocurrency wallets, and hidden Delaware shell companies being used to funnel millions of dollars. This isn't just juicy celebrity gossip anymore. This is a full-on, high-stakes criminal investigation-style operation. The King of England has been playing detective in the shadows, and what he found is absolutely explosive. Meghan's world isn't just cracking, it is completely shattering. New stone around a swimming pool, the 98-page brief filed in a bankruptcy court while California was still asleep, the unsent message on a dark phone screen, the blue pajamas in the dresser, and the barrister who whispered to a photograph of 2 toddlers in Kensington Gardens, "The law will bring you home." That line absolutely breaks my heart and sends shivers down my spine all at the exact same time. The law will bring you home. Can you even imagine the sheer, raw intensity and absolute dedication behind this operation? They aren't just trying to win a court case, they are on a divine mission to bring these royal babies back to the UK, no matter what it takes or who they have to crush in the process. Meghan is facing an unstoppable force, and her time is rapidly running out. The day Alexander Marsden accepted the brief, she did not summon clerks or paralegals, she summoned cryptographers in a nondescript suite above Gray's Inn Road technicians, installed an air-gap document room with biometric locks and an offline server designed to store exactly 5 master files. Litigation chronology, asset trace log, witness roster psychological assessments, and the Hague petition draft. Every visitor to the room signed an official secret-style undertaking drafted by the Cabinet Office and countersigned at Windsor. Marsden's first rule was announced at the inaugural meeting and repeated at every subsequent one leak, once leave, forever the room. The kiln. That is what they call this secret room, because everything that entered it emerged hardened and ready for battle. Talk about intense and highly conspiratorial. This is beyond anything we have ever seen in the history of royal scandals. They were operating like a literal intelligence agency, treating Meghan and Harry like active national security threats. The level of absolute paranoia and extreme precision is just mind-blowing. They left absolutely nothing to chance. Acquired a nickname within weeks, the kiln. Everything that entered emerged hardened. By April 2024, it was running 18 hours a day Harbottle, and Lewis messengers arrived with folios of forgotten Regency guardianship cases from the Lord Chancellor's archive Cobry, and Kim flew in blockchain printouts. Tracing coin tumbler hops between Delaware and Dubai Blank Rome Associates provided deposition templates conforming to California's Code of Civil Procedure. Freshfields couriered margin notes from their Brussels partner who had successfully argued the El Ghazali case, the ruling that convinced A. Belgian judge to uproot 2 children from Marrakesh despite furious press protests Marsden. Wow. Talk about leaving absolutely no stone unturned. They were digging up ancient, dusty laws from centuries ago and combining them with cutting-edge blockchain technology to trap Meghan. They even studied international cases of kids being ripped from one country to another. This is the ultimate, meticulously planned trap. Meghan and Harry had absolutely no idea that this massive, invisible net was slowly closing in around them for months and months. So, the big question on everyone's mind is, how on earth did the king's legal eagle plan to bring down the Sussex empire? It all comes down to the ultimate, cold-blooded strategy. She knew that American courts absolutely despise dramatic, over-the-top Hollywood theatrics. They want the raw, undeniable arithmetic. And oh boy, was she ready to give them numbers that would make anyone's head spin. The 4-firm task force she put together was operating like a well-oiled machine of destruction. While one firm was digging up centuries of hidden royal guardianship laws, another was tracking the cold, hard cash. What they discovered within the very first 6 months was an absolute jaw-dropping bombshell that is guaranteed to cause pure panic in Montecito. They found a massive, mind-blowing £3.2 million shortfall. And where did that money go? They traced it through shady Delaware shell companies and complex cryptocurrency wallets straight into a Montecito contractor's escrow account. And the description on the document? New stone around the swimming pool. Can you even believe the absolute audacity of that? This entire time, Charles's operation was running in complete, absolute silence. They didn't file a single document or make a single public move that might tip off Meghan's high-priced legal team. They were building a case so airtight, so flawless, and so arithmetically devastating that no counter-argument could ever dislodge it. The trap was officially set, and the massive opening came when the heirs served their foundation with a tiny, seemingly harmless penalty for late filing. It was just a few $1,000s, something most big organizations would just pay and forget. But the Velvet Guillotine did not treat it as trivial. She swooped in, filed a Freedom of Information request, and obtained every single redacted financial form. Inside those dense spreadsheets, her forensic accountant found the ultimate smoking gun. There was a massive donation cluster labeled for community outreach in the Pacific region, but there were absolutely no corresponding grants or documents showing where that money actually went. Just days after that money appeared, the exact same amount surfaced as a wire transfer to a Delaware shell company. From there, it went straight into the contractor's account for that luxurious pool renovation. Charitable funds, collected in the name of vulnerable, hurting communities, were allegedly used to pay for extreme luxury home improvements. The documentation was clean, complete, and utterly devastating for Meghan. But oh, it gets so much worse. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more dramatic, the ultimate betrayal happened. A junior nanny who had been dismissed without any severance contacted the legal team through a super-secret, highly encrypted portal. Her explosive testimony landed on the lead barrister's screen in the middle of a dark, rain-smeared night. She described a fake, highly controlled domestic environment that was meticulously organized around staged photographic opportunities rather than genuine child welfare. Little Archie was allegedly measuring his hugs by the sound of camera shutters, and Lilibet's innocent playtime was actively choreographed for drone overheads. The children's natural, raw, emotional responses were being managed and redirected whenever they didn't serve the perfect visual narrative being assembled for publication. Talk about a heartbreaking, highly conspiratorial environment. By breakfast time, that nanny's explosive statement was converted into a sworn declaration under penalty of perjury. The case was actively building a terrifying picture of alleged psychological harm married to financial harm. By the time the beautiful autumn months rolled around, the commercial picture for the Sussexes was in complete and total freefall. A luxury watch brand quietly backed away, and a major production company withdrew from a documentary pitch, citing active litigation headwinds. Meghan's publicist was receiving way more intense fact-checking queries from angry journalists than actual interview requests. The narrative was no longer hers to control or spin. When the massive 98-page brief was finally unsealed in a downtown Los Angeles bankruptcy court, the embargo broke at the precise moment for maximum crushing effect. It happened while California was still asleep, while Meghan's legal team hadn't even had their morning coffee or arrived at their offices. The filing was viciously methodical, listing 23 separate invoices for private jet charters and 16 luxury goods purchases charged to the foundation's accounts. And the most shocking part? 0 legally required accounts for either child. Every single expenditure was tied tied to specific dates when emotional online fundraising campaigns were actively running. The brief's closing sentence was a total mic drop. Charitable intent ends where personal enrichment begins. The media ignited before the working day had even properly started. Legal analysts described the filing with pure, unadulterated astonishment. A former government trustee even called it custody by spreadsheet. Meghan's spokesperson desperately issued a counter-statement calling it colonial overreach, but legal experts just laughed it off as a weak and transparent argument. A Beverly Hills law firm representing Meghan made a quiet inquiry about settlement parameters, but the king's response was ice cold, except nothing short of structural change. The house in Montecito became two separate icy operational headquarters, with Harry and Meghan moving in parallel silences. Harry was presented with a reintegration accord, giving him a parachute rather than a cage, but he was running on an emotional timeline that the law was not prepared to wait for. A photographer even caught him on a gravel path, pleading on the phone to just sign the papers, followed by the sound of glass breaking inside the house. Soon, movers arrived to take away a walnut crib and a framed photograph of Archie at Windsor. Harry was choosing what to say first. Meghan's team tried one last, desperate, press-friendly motion to strike the brief, but the corporate oxygen was thinning fast. As the highly anticipated hearing approached, the king signed the final instruction authorizing deployment of a massive rescue aircraft. He stood looking out the window, praying for the safety of the children, while in a California hotel suite, the lead barrister looked at a sweet photograph of the toddlers and whispered her final promise: "The law will bring you home." The stage was set, the evidence was immovable, and a single word from a judge was about to change everything.